Present perfect tense or conversational past. We're going to be looking at this with just regards to the regular verbs or the weak verbs. So, present perfect tense has the word present in it, but it is in fact one of the past tenses. Let's go ahead and examine this fact. So, it is used to tell the past, not the present. And in German, you have to have two components for when you're using present perfect tense. You're going to need a helping verb, and you're going to need a past participle. So in a sense, think about the helping verb that we'll see. The helping verb will be in present tense, but the past participle, in a sense, kind of makes it the past tense. I know that's not really true, but that's kind of a way to look at it. So in English, instead of saying, well, you'll see in just a second what happens. So here's a German sentence that is in the present perfect tense. If you notice in this sentence, there are two words that are like verbs or look like verbs. Hast and gekauft. You'll see the verb kaufen in there. Hast du ein Rad gekauft? Hast du ein Rad gekauft means, in an English translation, it means, did you buy a bike or have you bought a bike? So now that we look at these statements in English, did buy, have bought. Hopefully you noticed a pattern. In English, they also have a helping verb, right? And in the context of this is going to be our past participle. So in German, hast is the helping verb, gekauft is the past participle. Learning the past participles in German is what's a bit of a challenge. So since this video is only focusing on regular or weak verbs, it's a little easier than some of the other ones that we'll look at if you look at my irregular verb video. So, present tense. Er kauft ein Buch. He buys a book. Present perfect tense or conversational past. Er hat ein Buch gekauft. So, in the present tense, just the verb. In the present perfect tense, a helping verb and a past participle. And perhaps you noticed, right? The last part of this is kauft, so gekauft. Let's see what happens with this example. Wir suchen nach Gold. We search for gold. Present tense, suchen. Present perfect tense or conversational past, wir haben nach Gold gesucht. Once again, hopefully you notice something that happens to get the past participle. So what is this to get the past participle? How does this occur? That's what we'll examine in the video. One more. Er kocht. You could say like er kocht die Suppe. Er hat gekocht. Right? These are exactly the same. Kocht, kocht. So if you look at this example and the previous ones, hopefully this kind of seen that a pattern is established. So this in and of itself, or sort of, is a formula. Think about algebra or math. You can plug and chug. So the first thing you need is you're going to need your helping verb, which is the correct form of haben. Ich habe, du hast, sie, es hat, wir haben, ihr habt, sie haben. And then to get your past participle, which goes at the end of the sentence, you add ge plus the sie as form of the verb. So if you look here above, right, the sie as form of the verb is kocht. There it is. And then you add ge in front of it. So this is the basic formula for regular verbs in the present perfect tense. To consider and think about this with regards to English, um, these regular verbs are predictable, right? They're going to follow a pattern. And so in English, we would say things like, um, we talk to each other becomes we talked to each other. So this kind of get, haha, do you get it? This get form, in a sense, for English is kind of like our ed for our past tense. There are irregular ones in English, just as there are irregular ones in German. So if I take the German verb lieben, to love, that in a sense is geliebt, is the past participle, so loved. If I use sagen, to say, unfortunately in English it's not I said, in English it's I said, but in German, gesagt is like saying talked or said, but that's that ed form. So, I did hear the Queen, or I have heard the Queen. Ich habe die Königin gehört. Du hast die Königin gehört. Hat, Entschuldigung. Ha, whoa, ja. Oh nein. Ähm, hat die Königin gehört. Wir, wir haben, something is wrong with these. Wir haben die Königin gehört. So if you're looking at these sentences that are all present perfect tense, like what is the thing that changes? You'll notice that the past participle remains the same. That does not change. Gehört, gehört, gehört. It's the haben that we're looking at that changes because that has to be conjugated for subject-verb agreement for the subject. So some of the verbs that you may know that are regular are the following. Basteln, brauchen, dauern, decken, glauben, hoffen, holen, hören, jubeln, kaufen, kosten, lächeln, lernen, machen, mähen, meinen. What should I use for this one? Passen, regnen, reisen. Reisen has 3 stars. We'll talk about that in a minute. Sagen, sammeln, schaffen, schenken, schicken, schmecken, schneien, schwenken, spielen, spülen, staunen, stimmen, üben, wandern. Wandern has 3 stars. Warten, wohnen, wünschen. Just as some examples. All of these will be regular patterns. So if I wanted to say stimmen, the past participle would be gestimmt. Warten, gewartet. Wohnen, gewohnt. Wünschen, gewünscht. Wünscht. So the ones with the 3 stars, which we saw were currently wandern and reisen. These, however, are a little quirky. These are going to take the sein instead of haben for the helping verb. And that's because of this very specific kind of rule. Verbs of movement or direction, and also states of being, use sein instead of haben. So instead of saying, ich reise nach Deutschland, I travel to Germany, you have to use ich bin, du bist, er, sie, es ist, wir sind, ihr seid, sie sind for the helping verb. So ich bin nach Deutschland gereist. Ich bin nach Deutschland gereist.